there, yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my dining room here on Vancouver Island in Canada. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Saturday, November the 25th, 2023. How are you all doing? I hope you're well and staying safe. I'm feeling much better. I don't know whether you watched the last episode, but those of you who did, I was kind of recovering from a cold and I was finding it difficult to talk. So I was throwing back some of the Buckley syrup and trying to get through some videos. But I want to say thank you for the well wishes and the healing vibes. They were sent my way and I'm feeling much better and almost back to normal. So yeah, I want to also welcome all the people who have just arrived for the very first time on this channel and tell you a little bit about me and why I set up this channel. My name's Gary and I wanted to document all of my yarny adventures in knitting, crochet, and dabbling a little bit in yarn dyeing. Talk about my acquisitions when I purchase my yarn or tools of my craft, finding where I can, source all the materials from as well. Talk about like where I purchase things from and all that kind of thing. So if that is of interest to you, please stick around. And to everyone who's come back from watching previous videos, I want to say thank you for your encouraging words and your support as always. I appreciate you coming back and I wouldn't be here without you. I love the connections that we're making and the conversations that we have in the comment section, so keep them coming. So yeah, I'm home in the dining area. As I said, normally I film upstairs in the yarn corner, but things have changed a little bit today because I'm looking after Pixel and Chad is away. So Chad's my husband. He's gone to Vancouver, which is the closest big city to us, around 6 hours commute, going by ferry, going by car, but he flew down. So he was pretty much going to be there in 45 minutes. And he just texted me to say he arrived safely. He's meeting up with some friends he went to high school with many, many years ago, and they're celebrating his birthday weekend. So I was invited to go along, but I said, no, I would like to stay home to talk to my yarning community and also look after Pixel so that we don't have to take a vehicle and he could easily fly and return quicker than doing the commute in the car. So anyway, wish him a very happy birthday weekend and I'll see him on the actual day of his birthday. So that's all great. I've got some secret gifts to give him as well that he doesn't know about. So I'm gonna enjoy surprising him with those. And today you might notice that the title is a little different as well. I'm not talking about the things that I mentioned. I'm gonna shift gears here and try answering some questions that I get regularly from you from other videos, and that is how I choose colors, what I do to kind of like get inspired, what is it that I kind of am doing to experiment with my color palettes. And that prompted up a lot of this discussion within myself about like how to best explain it and also to reiterate and sort of give confidence to people's own personal palettes. We are all individuals and we do have our personality of colors, and what a fantastic thing that is because we don't always want to be the same. So I'm going to chop this up into chunks. We'll talk about kind of like the theory of color that I was brought up with because I went to art school, and I know that there are several other methods of theory and also how to deconstruct it all so that, we can, learn the things that we can fall back on if we're short of ideas, but then really push and explore the boundaries of our own personal colorscapes as well. We're going to be talking about things like how to create mood boards and storyboards, evoking emotions with our cultural backgrounds as well, because when I was traveling when I was younger, I used to travel a lot. Color meant many different things to people from other parts of the world. So it is really an explorative, kind of free, choose your own kind of adventure with color. And I really like that too. So in the end, I will wrap up with explaining how there are some applications out there that you can use passing some scanning. I guess there's some databases out there that you can submit your scanned storyboards or photographs, and they will choose yarns to actually match the colors or closely match the colors that you pick in your colorscapes. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is just the theory, and I've got this book here to showcase my illustration of a theory on color, and this is using the color wheel, 3 primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. I'll link all of these publications down below in the description box if you want to learn more about them yourself. So this one is called 2000 Color Combinations by Garth Lewis, and I've tagged some of the pages here to show. So it uses the primary colors as I mentioned and places them and plots them in 3 of the parts of the circle. So then what it does is it gradates from the primary colors and creates the blends. So you'll find that between a blue and a red, you've got the purples, and between the red and the yellow, you have the oranges, and so on and so forth. Yellow to the blue, you get all the greens and whatever. So when you are stuck for your color choices, the wheel becomes a suggestion on like someone's theory, I don't know who invented it, that creates pleasure for the eye. Now, this is not probably true for all cultures, but when I was studying at school, we were suggested that if we wanted to make something red, and we had lots of red in our kind of inventory, then we would go across and choose a green as a complementary color if we wanted to create visual interest. There are other methods as well to use the color wheel. You can do a split complementary, which is dividing the red going down, and then as you get to the center point, you jut off into 2 directions, and whatever it lands on equally in the color wheel are the split complementary colors that you add with the red. And likewise, when you're changing the direction, so if you're over here on the yellows, then your blue would be the complementary. Oh, sorry, the orange would be blue, and so on and so forth. So the wheel becomes a very helpful tool. There is also a greater XY factor coordinates on the color wheel, so that if you're looking at the color wheel as a 3D object, you see that the plane here, which is probably good to say that that's the the X factor, on this axis is the hue value, which is this circle here. And then if you proceed up along the Y-axis, you're adding white into the color, so you're actually making it more pastel, into more of the romantic colors, very soft, playful. Sometimes you get those colors in a lot of the baby collections in yarn. And then if you move it down to the negative, into the black area of the Y-axis, you are then creating more murky and moody colors. So that's the way that this basic description of the color wheel works. Yeah, so if you're looking at this book as well, it does go into each of the color values and mixes them for you to show you what good matches might be. So this is more so for a designer who's using a computer and then can create their own color palettes, but that's something of value now for us knitters and crocheters who are now looking for yarn in these colors, because there is a tool that I'll mention later down, the way that you can use by scanning these color palettes in, or photographs, and then you get collections of yarns that have those colors or close match. Okay, so now that the theory is out of the way and we're setting our goal towards moving more in the direction of developing our own personal colorscapes, there are some tips and tricks that I tend to do quite often that help me to explore and play with yarn, and also challenge myself with different color arrangements. Some of them are flops, some of them really surprise me because they're out of my wheelhouse of color and my go-to color arrangements that I tend to always go tried and true, tested, and keep going back. So this is the fun part where I like recording things, documenting, scrapbooking, collecting postcards, favorite pictures, put them in an album, all that sort of great stuff. So some of the things that I tend to pick up along the way when I'm out and about, or I have a big box of collection of things that I like, are postcards. So I've got a few here. When I went traveling, I was looking at some artwork, some Renaissance, some Japanese prints, and these become part of my visual kind of references that I want to kind of play around with the colors later on. Some illustrations here. There's a really good illustrator called Nick Bantock, and I got a collection of his stuff here. So that's one thing. Then also people send me cards, like greeting cards. This one here came from Kate, and I really like the color arrangement. You know, we've got some greens as well as purple in there, so it's kind of a soft pastel-y arrangement there of colors. I like the placement as well of the background, and then having some sort of focus area there. So I collect postcards. I also will use my design books that I have. I've got a series of design books, but you can use your magazines if you have travel guides or beautifully photographed National Geographic magazines, and you want to clip out some of the, I don't know, seascapes or beautiful beaches, rock formations, you like the texture and color that they bring, then I would suggest maybe cutting those out and keeping them as clippings for your storyboarding. I've got another book here. It's for graphic designers, and it's the Atlas. So I've got like various work here from other artists. Sometimes I see illustrators using great color palettes. You can find them also in movie posters. It's endless. I also do go on a lot of walks with Pixel, and I take my camera with me because I'm capturing sunsets or sunrises and the beautiful colors in the forest. I love the explosion of spring with all the different colors, so I'll take macro photographic shots of petals and flowers. When I go to the nursery, I'm always there taking photographs. So there are other books here. This one here, The Low Sky, was given to me as a gift by one of my friends in Holland, and it's about all of the beautiful photographs, cityscapes and landscapes with color. Amazing, amazing references there for different types of colors. The next step to do is the fun part that I think. You have all these clippings, you have a box full of like magazine cutouts or postcards, cards that you receive from family and friends, and you have a couple of things perhaps on your phone, albums that you started digitally, taking photographs on your walks or on vacation. And then you have like other things as well around you, like, you know, you have a resource there out there of the internet as well. You might like to see a photograph and collect that and put that into your space as well. So you'll get a little piece of paper, maybe the size of a US letter size or an A4 size if you're in Europe or Australia, and you decide what kind of like mood you want to create, whether it's going to be, I kind of want to evoke, say, mystery or intrigue, and I'm going to choose all of those rich colors. Or I want to be lighthearted and romantic, so I'm going to go up somewhere in the more pastel-y range, as I was mentioning with the scale of the value of your colors. So yeah, I then would cut out my moods from all the different things and stick them on the mood board, or you could say a storyboard or a vision board, and put them all down. I'll write the name of whatever emotion I was feeling or wanted to evoke, and then think to myself, I'm going to use this as my map of colors that I'm going to look in my yarnscape and find what I can put together to resemble that mood. So if maybe cutting and pasting and doing all this wonderful exercise is too much for you, it's going to be like a lot of time and effort to put things away to the side and then come back to it later, and you want that instant gratification, then these are some tips that I can suggest for you to get a full board straight away take a lovely photo, and maybe that captures all the evoking colors of the emotion that you feel that you want to portray in your next project. So lovely photograph. Maybe there's one photograph in a magazine that you just want to take a snapshot of, and then that captures all of those wonderful colors and emotions. The other thing to do that I can suggest, which is a simple experiment, is open up your wardrobe or wherever you put your clothes. Maybe they're in piles or they're in a drawer, and take a photograph of the everyday wearables that you wear, you love wearing. So that's a really good way of finding out what kind of color palette you like wearing in wearables. And maybe that would be an interesting thing to think about, what kind of emotion or attribute that all of these colors that you have in your wardrobe are suggesting to you as a person, and whether or not you'd like to make a project that builds on that color palette that you have already, or something that mixes and matches perfectly through all of the ranges of wares that you love wearing, so that you get lots of wear out of it. So that's another thing to do to create storyboarding or mood boards. So I should actually show you some of my mood boards, because it would be nice to see and reflect on some style of emotions that I've come up with. Now, these are a little clean cut. They're formulated in some regards because it was to work up other projects, not in so much for yarn or crafting, but they were building a personality, so to speak, in color. And I can show you how I translate that over into yarn. So I'm just going to put up the first one here, and I'll move to the side so you can, I've got some things to show you alongside it as well. The first one that I have is a mood board, which I have got the overarching emotion of spiritual, or the word spiritual, to generate these colors and feelings. So I started off with the peacock feather, and you'll see that it's a very rich and thought-provoking, very deep and self-exploration of color. And there is butterflies and really vivid flowers. So I have got the orange, I got this lovely green from the peacock feather, as well as a navy blue. There's also purple, which is one of the most spiritual colors on the color wheel that I find personally. And so with all of those colors that are along the bottom there, those are the colors that kind of like are drawn as the most prominent colors in the scape that I've created. And to show you a piece of work recently that I finished, and it wasn't to this storyboard, but I can associate this quite nicely with that storyboard. It doesn't have all the colors that are represented as key colors, but it does give me a sense of maybe 2 or 3 of them. So here it is here. It's a cowl, and it uses a lot of the peacock feather colors. So we've got that nice emeraldy, luscious green, and we have the blue, the navy blue as well, that's in the peacock feather. So it gives me a sense of scaling the texture of the stitch itself. But I love this cowl so much. I just recently finished it. I'll talk more about it in an update video on what yarn I used and what size of knitting needles. But the pattern itself is called Willow Cowl, and it's from Amelia, Lyon. So I will link the pattern down below in the description box and talk to you more about it in my update. But it does associate so much with this color storyboard here. The next one that I have is called Alternative. Now this color palette is slightly grungy. It has more of a playful, energetic feel to it. So my sub words that I've added in here are energetic, playful, and flirty. So you'll see here you've got the sunflower yellow, you've got really a beautiful hunter green, some black in there, and a silver grey. I'm looking down here because I can see the picture that I'm showing you, and a coral. And we've got some fun patterning in there as well, and textures to really add to that level of alternative energy. I haven't built a piece from this yet, but I'm looking forward to perhaps maybe using this storyboard in a next knit or crochet project that I am making. The last one that I have here is classical for those traditional lovers, and this one here uses decadence. It's like chocolate cake. It has exotic coffee bean colors and almost like a deep maroon and blood reds with a sky blue, as well as a skin tone, like maybe an off-white kind of pinkish color. So the undercurrent words that I'm using in the classical theme are satisfaction, confidence, and trusting. That's the 3 that I got to show for you today. I have another 3, but I'll push that towards a later date down the way. And so now that you've seen storyboarding and a mood boarding, what it looks like, and remember, it's not meant to be so clean cut like I've presented them. They could be scrapbook-like or ripped out of magazines and plopped down. They're really just your way of experimenting and expressing yourself in color. So that leads me to some exciting things that I want to present to you along the way. This is a bit of a, I guess, a make-along, if you want to call it that, because I'm opening this up to all of the viewers to try out their own mood boards. It could be, I've got a message, it could be that you just find a lovely photograph somewhere along the way and you want to kind of like maybe get your color from that mood board. It also could be something that you cut and paste from all the wonderful magazines that you have on travel. And what I want you to do is send me them. I want you to write the overarching emotion or feeling that you get when you are looking at your mood board with the colors that you've created. And I would love to actually see what you come up with. And I'm opening it worldwide so I can get to see the color arrangements and color feels from people from all over the world. I know that color is something different from one part of the world to the other, so it will be an interesting experiment. Now, in doing so, I'm gonna leave this open until January the 4th to receive any digital files that you have of the board put together and the word that you're feeling somewhere incorporated in that visual, like whether you are handwriting it on top of your pasted pictures and bits and pieces, or if you're doing it electronically like what I've done, I just typed in the words, so you can put that into your picture as well, and you can send them to me if you feel like you want to participate, because I'd be interested in seeing everyone else's color boards. And my email address is urbanyarn101@gmail.com. I'm going to open it up worldwide, as I said, and there will be a prize at the end of the time frame. So January the 4th is the end. I know that we have like holidays and people are off on vacations and traveling with family, so I didn't want to push it too close to now, and I wanted to give everyone a chance to relax and enjoy this process collecting things. And what I'm going to do is, as of January the 4th, if you feel like you would like to be involved in a slide presentation, then please stipulate I don't mind in your email being added to the slide presentation. If you feel that you would like to refrain from that, then let me know. I'm just entering for the chance to win, and I don't want to be represented in the slide presentation. Then I will honor and respect whatever your wishes are. I just am interested in trying something different for a cowl. Now, there's only going to be one entry per person, so if you want to do multiple mood boards or vision boards, then I'm sorry, but you won't be eligible to have multiple entries. You'll just have one entry. And if you do enjoy it and you feel like you want to give me a few, then that will just count as one entry. The prize will be a gift of yarn, and it's in a box that I've already shown because the recipient to one of my past gifts that I had did not respond. So I have that wonderful yarn box already ready to go. So in January, when I do the drawing, it will be at random. Then that box will be ready to go for the person who has entered this mood board experiment, if you want to call it that. So the next thing is, I guess, let's talk about what we can do with these mood boards. After we build them, we can actually put them through an app. So this app that I've discovered, I'm still getting my feet wet in it. I haven't quite figured out how it all comes together or how it's working, but I think I've got some handle of it, and maybe it's in practice mode. I'm not too sure. Right now it's free as at the recording of this video, but later down the way I can see it being a really essential tool that perhaps maybe will charge. I'm not sure, but it's called Crochet Studio, and I will include it. I'm not affiliated with Crochet Studio, but I'll include the link down below if you're interested in going to read more about it before you download it and try it out for yourself. But excuse me, I'm just going to get a drink. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Crochet Studio, is that it allows you to upload a photograph. In this case, it would be your mood board. And what it does, it scans the photograph, your mood board, and it will pull out all of the main colors on the parameters that you give it. If you say, I would like to maybe do a colorscape in yarn that uses 3 colors in this mood board, then it will pull out the most used pixels of that color board and present to you yarn collections that have those colors. Now it's a little clunky because sometimes it doesn't pick the right colors, but I would say maybe 60 to 70% of the time it does pick really close calls to the colors in the photograph. And I've got some samples here of my photos as well, which it then goes and shows the color selections from the likely brands of yarn that you can find on the market. Now these are valued yarns all the way up to a little bit more pricey, but it gives you a good range of what you can do with your colorscapes and transferring them over into yarn. So I have another series of photos that I'm going to add here to show you my journey in using Crochet Studio to pull out those colors, the majority of the colors, and mix them to color palettes in yarn. So let me get up my thing here. So I have, the first one is this one here. It is a flower that I took a photograph of that was growing in my neighbor's garden. And it's some type of iris, but it's not the classical iris that is kind of purple. It's more of an orange color. And so it pulled out these yarns in the same collection, and they are from Stylecraft Special DK. There are the numbers and the names of the colors on the side of that photo scan that I was telling you about that Crochet Studio does. So it gave me all of these color palettes, and I liked the one from Stylecraft Special DK. You can click a button that has selection to go through and cycle to the next palette. But I like the one that I landed on here, so I took a screen grab of it because I wasn't quite sure how I would capture the contents and how to store it. But I think I've since discovered how to do a little bit of that control feature. Now the next one, going to the Dahlia, is a photo that I took on a walk through the botanical gardens called the Bushon Gardens in Victoria, and that's in British Columbia, Canada. And these are all of the wonderful purples. There's kind of like all different grades of purple. There's a green in there too called Kayak. And this color range is from Rico, and it's the Collective Rico Rumi DK. So different yarn brand. And I think this falls into the category of the spiritual type palette that I showed when I did my storyboard reveal. And the next one here, these are hydrangeas, I believe. In the background, there's some sunflowers. I was in a nursery, and these hydrangeas were available for taking photographs of. So I thought I really loved getting so close that I could see like the bits of brown that were coming in through on these petals into the lilac and lavenders. So here is a prime example of maybe these aren't the best colors that are chosen out of the scanner. And I agree with some of the yellows. I think there's missing a nice lilac in there, but it gets into this deeper like bluish purple. And I would say that this one evokes a little bit more fun to me, like playful fun, almost, yeah, playful and fun with a bit of romance. So I'm kind of combining two emotions with that one. The next one here I've got is of it looks like an orchid, and I really like the veins. On the same visit to that nursery where they had all the flowers out in bloom in the spring, I snapped this one, and these were a really good example of the colors I thought that were being pulled from the photograph. And this is from Paintbox Simply DK, and all of the numbers are there. And I would say that this is definitely playful, youthful. It's definitely giving me baby vibes, like you could do a lovely blanket here for a young person to decorate their room, or even clothing. The next one here is I was out on vacation, and we were in, I think, Nassau. It's a island in the Bahamas. I don't know whether that's correct, but it's in the Caribbean Sea. And it was coming off the ship. They had this placard thing with all fish and aquarium, wonderful colors, and you could put your head in it. And I think you can see a bit of Chad's face in there in the corner. So it pulled all the colors out. Again, not a bad representation of the colors. And this is from Stylecraft Special DK again. Definitely, I would agree. This one's giving me like Caribbean tropical vibes with the color palette that is coming out of that stand thing. Next one here is something I wanted to try with the app. So this is the Crochet Studio app. I scanned this image of the rocks on sand in a nice sunset. So I'm getting all those wonderful rich browns and honey tones of yellow. And I thought that some of the selection of one of the brands that it was giving me didn't answer the call to every color that I was seeing in here. So what I did was I went in and fine-tuned, and I added another collection with colors that I thought matched better. And you'll see them being added in this palette with no representation of the strands of yarn, but they are parts of the other added collection that I've inserted here. So this is from Yarnsmith Create, and the ones that are not showing the yarn inside of the textures, like the mocha and the copper, that is the Stylecraft Special Erin. So I know that there's a little bit of fun tweaking that you can do with the app, and I wanted to talk about that app because it does give you a boost of inspiration. If you're finding that perhaps maybe you're getting blocked with color and you want to experiment and play a bit more, that I think sometimes your storyboarding and photos that you have in your phone or your photo albums can be used as sources of inspiration. If you scan them into this Crochet Studio app, you'll get a collection of yarn that comes out with the colors that are inside of that photograph. So I think that's a great idea. And it opens up a whole avenue of possibilities. If you find that you don't have enough time to play around with yarn yourself, or to lay out your yarn and dig into whatever it is that you are making, this might be another alternative route to finding out what you can do with the color palettes that you have in your stash too. So with that, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you are interested in building a mood board and sending me your entry in of the mood board, remembering to put your evoked emotion that you're getting somewhere on that submission, then please do. I'd be excited to get it. And if you're interested in seeing them all together in a slideshow, then let me know that you're okay with me putting it into a slideshow. It'll be ending January the 4th, and soon after that, maybe give me 3 days between January the 4th and January the 7th to pick at random a person's mood board that will win some yarn as a gift to say thank you for getting involved. And if you want to go ahead and build something to the mood board, this is not necessary at all. I'm interested in seeing your mood board, but if you want to build something or create something in yarn, in knitted, crocheted, if you want to weave, if you want to do some loom knitting, then I would love to see how you interpreted your mood board into a project. Yeah, other than anything but like a little swatch, because we'd like to see some texture. We'd like to see how those colors interplay. You know, do you feel that maybe there's enough color that represents the photograph in a bigger piece? Yeah, I'd love to see that as well. So I want to say belated happy Thanksgiving to our neighbors to the south who just celebrated their Thanksgiving. I think it was on Thursday that just passed. And I will catch you up in the next video. Bye for now.